The 2009 NBA draft class is over 10 years old today. Steph Curry, Blake Griffin, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan are some of the guys that came out of this draft class. In this video, I'll go through the top picks in the draft and see how they are now. With the first overall pick in 2009 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers selected Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, as a sophomore out of Oklahoma, averaged 22.7 points and 14.4 rebounds. He won the Naismith Award, the Wooden Award. He's a two-time selection to the All-Big 12 team, and in 2008, he was the Big 12 Player of the Year. As you can see, he was a beast. He was compared to Karl Malone out of college and was by far the most athletic player in the draft. He's turned out to be a very good pro, being selected to 6 All-Star games and being selected to 5 All-NBA teams. He was 2010-11 Rookie of the Year as well. Out of college, Griffin didn't have a jump shot and was just more athletic and stronger than everyone else. Early in Griffin's career, he struggled staying healthy. Blake Griffin fractured his left patella in his last preseason game of his rookie year. He needed surgery and missed that whole season. This looked like a red flag early in his career. However, the next season, Griffin showed signs of great things. He played all 82 games, averaging 22.5 points and 12.5 rebounds. The next season, he only played 66 games and shot 12.5% from the three-point line. At this point in Griffin's career, he's proven to be a great player, but it just seemed like he couldn't stay healthy. In 2014 summer, he must have done work because his jump shot improved significantly, where he shot 40% from the three-point line in the 2014-15 summer. However, this still hasn't helped him with injuries, where just 2 years ago he only played 25 games. I think what sums up Griffin's career is that he's a great player, and I consider him the best power forward in the league when healthy, but he very rarely can stay healthy for that long. With the second overall pick in the draft, the Memphis Grizzlies selected Hasheem Thabeet out of UConn. Thabeet was a 7'3" center who averaged 10.3 points and 8.5 rebounds. Thabeet was compared to Dikembe Mutombo. This guy, however, did not turn out to be that, and is actually known as one of the biggest busts in NBA history. In a 5-year NBA career, he averaged 2.2 points and 2.7 rebounds. Not exactly Mutombo's stats. In his rookie year for the Grizzlies, he would only play 68 games before being sent to the Grizzlies D-League team. Not exactly what you want your second overall pick doing. In 2011-12 season, the Grizzlies would actually end up trading Thabeet with a first-round pick to the Rockets for Shane Battier and Ish Smith. On the Rockets, Thabeet would only play 7 games before being sent to the D-League again. This is what happened through the rest of his career, where he would bounce back from the D-League and NBA over and over. Thabeet is trying to make a comeback, being 5 years removed from the NBA, where he's playing for a team in Japan. Many people think the reason he didn't turn out is because he didn't have a good mentor. Grizzlies star at the time, Tony Allen, was quoted saying, "The thing about Hasheem was I don't think he had a good mentor." Even though Thabeet was a bust, you can't really feel bad for him because he made $11 million in his 5-year NBA career. Who you really feel bad for is the Memphis Grizzlies, who missed out on Harden, Curry, and DeRozan to pick this guy instead. What could have been. With the third pick in the draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected James Harden. As a sophomore out of Arizona State, Harden averaged 20.1 points a game. He was selected to 2 Pac-10 teams and was selected to the 2009 Pac-10 tournament team. James Harden was a sixth man for the Oklahoma City Thunder that starred Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Harden was a solid sixth man, as most of you know, winning the Sixth Man of the Year award in 2011-12 season. Harden was worth more money than the small market Oklahoma City Thunder could provide, so the Rockets traded for him, sending Jeremy Lamb, Kevin Martin, and 2 first-round picks to OKC for Harden, Daquan Cook, Cole Abrich, and Lazard Hayward. The Rockets definitely took a shot on Harden for a guy that only averaged 16.8 points and 4.1 rebounds off the bench the year before. However, this would prove to turn out well for them, as you all know. Harden averaged 25.9 points on 43.8% shooting his first year for the Rockets. Since then, he's become a 7-time All-Star and selected to 6 All-NBA teams. He's also a 2-time scoring champion and 2017-18 NBA MVP. Last year, Harden averaged 36.6 points in 36.8 minutes. Let that sink in. He averaged almost a point for every minute he was on the court. He also scored 30-plus points for 65 games in a row. He has become one of the NBA's best scorers of all time, which leads to the questions, what if the Grizzlies selected Harden instead of Hasheem Thabeet? I guess we will never know. With the 4th pick in the draft, the Sacramento Kings picked Tyreke Evans. As a freshman at Memphis, Evans averaged 17.1 points a game. He was selected to the NCAA All-Regional team. Evans has had a solid NBA career, averaging 15.7 points and 4.6 rebounds, going along with 4.8 assists. Solid, however, if you think about it, where he was drafted before players like Curry and DeRozan, it would seem like a disappointment. However, at one time, Evans looked elite. As a rookie, he averaged 20.1 points and 5.8 assists. This is amazing. To take it in perspective, LeBron James as a rookie averaged 20.9 points and 5.9 assists, almost identical to Evans. Evans looked like he was going to be a top player in the NBA. He won the Rookie of the Year. The thing is, Evans' stats were solid, but they would always consistently go a little bit down. His second year, he only averaged 17.8 points, and then his third, 16.5. All solid numbers, but they did go down. The main problem with Evans wasn't his skill, it was staying healthy. He never played a full 82-game season, and in his NBA career, he averaged 59.4 games a year. In a 3-year stretch, Evans only played 65 games. He played 65 games in 3 years. Injuries plagued Evans' career. Evans' question will always be, what if he could stay healthy? With the 5th pick in the draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves picked Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio played internationally for FC Barcelona. He was compared to Steve Nash and Magic Johnson in the draft. He never turned out to what he was thought to be. He has played a long career, averaging 11 points and 8.2 assists. Good numbers, but not Magic Johnson stats. Rubio has been a solid NBA player, but a disappointment for what he was thought to be. There's not much to say about Rubio because he hasn't won much awards, but he has been a very solid player. But you have to realize that he was picked over someone like Steph Curry, so the Timberwolves could have got someone better. The Minnesota Timberwolves also had the 6th pick where they selected Johnny Flynn. Johnny Flynn, as a sophomore out of Syracuse, averaged 17.4 points and 6.7 assists. Johnny Flynn only lasted 3 years in the NBA. Flynn was on the all-rookie team and played his rookie season averaging 13.5 points and 4.4 assists. The next season, however, Flynn got injured and had surgery on his hip. He only played 53 games that season, and the year after that, he only played 29 games. The problem with Flynn was never his play, it was staying healthy. After his 3rd season, he only played 29 games, and his rookie contract would be up. He would bounce around summer league teams and never get signed again. He played internationally for the NBL in Australia and the CBA in China and over in Europe. There was articles about Flynn trying to make a comeback in 2013, but this has never happened. Johnny Flynn is like a lot of great college players, but their bodies can't compete in the NBA level physically. Flynn was a 6 foot, 185-pound guard, so this kind of makes sense to only think that the Grizzlies picked this guy 1 pick ahead of Steph Curry. With the 7th pick in the 2009 draft, the Golden State Warriors picked Stephen Curry. As a junior out of Davidson, Curry averaged 28.6 points and 5.6 assists a game. Clearly the best stats out of anyone to this point. But like a lot of you might know, Curry had some quote-unquote red flags. Curry went to a small Division I school, so some thought his competition was not like the players that were picked before him. Also at 6'3", only 185 pounds, people thought he was small for the NBA. This one's kind of funny to me because Johnny Flynn, the pick before him, was 1, worse in college stat-wise, and 2, literally smaller than Curry. So why would they take Flynn over Curry is beyond me. I bet the Grizzlies wish they didn't. Curry is 100% the best player in the draft, being a 2-time MVP, 6-time All-Star, elected to 6 All-NBA teams. He was 2015-16 scoring champion and is a 3-time NBA champion. Recently, Michael Jordan has said that he doesn't think Curry's a Hall of Famer, which is beyond me. Curry's most crazy stat isn't on paper. It's the fact that he literally changed the game. Before Curry's MVP season in 2014-15, the NBA averaged about 19-ish threes a game. The year after he won the MVP, they shot about 24 a game. And now NBA teams average 33.7 threes a game. Curry, as an undersized guard, had to change the game from a big man base league to a guard-heavy, run-and-gun, high-scoring, high-shooting, three-point league. Curry has changed the game forever. With the 8th pick in the 2009 draft, the New York Knicks selected Jordan Hill. At 6'10", 235 pounds, Hill averaged 18.3 points and 11 rebounds as a junior out of Arizona. Hill was the Pac-12 All-American team and the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. He was compared to Chris Bosh out of college. Jordan Hill has played his role well as a solid backup big man. He played 8 years in the NBA, averaging 7.8 points and 5.8 rebounds with 0.7 blocks. He's a guy that almost every NBA team wants, a high-energy player off the bench that will do his dirty work as a big man. He also, with most other players in this draft, have struggled with injuries. His rookie year, he only played 50 games, and 2 years after that, only 36 games. The Knicks traded him only 24 games into his rookie year to the Rockets. He played 3 years for the Rockets and then was on the Lakers for 4. His last year on the Lakers in 2014-15 was his best year, averaging 12 points and 8 rebounds. After that year, he played 1 year for the Pacers and 7 games for the Timberwolves. Hill has been a solid NBA player, but the Knicks could have picked DeMar DeRozan or Brandon Jennings. With the 9th pick in the 2009 draft, the Toronto Raptors selected DeMar DeRozan. As a freshman out of USC, DeRozan averaged 13.9 points and 5.7 rebounds. DeRozan had a good Pac-12 tournament, being selected to the Pac-12 tournament team, and was a Pac-12 All-American. DeRozan's stats have been the worst so far to anyone drafted, but DeRozan had a ton of upside. At 6'7", 220 pounds, DeRozan was physically built for the NBA, unlike a lot of picks that were before him. As a rookie, DeRozan averaged 8.6 points in 77 games, solid for a rookie, but it didn't look like he was going to turn out to be a star. However, the next year, DeRozan's stats would jump drastically from 8.6 points his rookie year to 17.2 points the next. DeRozan has been a great pro, being selected to 4 All-Star games and 2 All-NBA teams. DeRozan was the face of the Raptors for 8 years, but never got it done in the playoffs. He was amazing during the regular season, but him and Lowry would be known for not showing up in the playoffs. He is a 20-point-per-game average scorer in the playoffs, but as your team's star, this does not cut it. The main stat that shows DeMar DeRozan's playoff performances is his plus-minus. Plus-minus is a stat that takes if your team outscores the other team, your plus-minus would be positive, but if your team gets outscored, it would be negative. For example, if I played and my team scored 2 points and the other team scored none, I would be +2. If the other team scored 2 and my team scored none, I'd be -2. You want your plus-minus to be positive. DeMar DeRozan has never had a positive plus-minus in his playoff career ever. This shows that he doesn't get it done. DeRozan was traded to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard, who we all definitely know because he brought the Raptors a championship. DeRozan was a sacrifice lamb for the Raptors' championship hopes. With the 10th pick in the draft, the Milwaukee Bucks selected Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings went to Oak Hill High School and took a very different path to the NBA. The only stat I could find of Jennings at Oak Hill was his junior year, where he averaged 15.3 points and 11.5 assists, being the number 1 player in his class. Jennings, instead of going to college, went overseas and got paid. He played in Italy and signed a 1-year contract for $2 million. This is really cool to me because I like when players take a different route to the same path as others. This plan seemed perfect. He goes to get some extra money to take care of his family and then gets to live his dream in the NBA. Seems perfect, but it almost backfired where Jennings only averaged 5.5 points. Yes, 5.5 points overseas. Seems like this could almost hurt him so bad that he wouldn't get drafted. However, the Bucks took a chance on him at 10, and as a rookie, he averaged 15.5 points and 5.5 assists and was selected to the All-Rookie team. Jennings would be a solid starting point guard for his first 6 years, but his 7th year, his minutes dropped and so did his play. His minutes went from about 28 minutes a game to 18, and his points went from about 15.4 to 6.9. He would jump around a few more teams at the end of his career, but then would be out of the league. Jennings took a very different path, but I would say his career was still a success. The main recap I take away from this is how much players were affected by injury. The biggest losers to me are Johnny Flynn, because out of all the other players, he only played 3 years, so he still didn't make that much money compared to the rest. The Grizzlies, because they could have picked James Harden, but didn't. And then the Timberwolves, because they could have picked Curry and DeRozan, but instead picked Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio. Man, what could have been.